Can the United States and Great Britain really be found in Genesis? And if so, are they the Chaldeans described in Habakkuk 1:6, a vision described to speak at the end and not lie? Habakkuk 1:6, For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess dwelling places that are not theirs. The Chaldees, ancient Babylon, Mesopotamia, and modern-day Iraq are all geographically synonymous. We are instructed that Habakkuk 1:6 shall speak at the end and not lie. Habakkuk 2:3. From this self-same book, we are told that God declares the end from the beginning. Isaiah 46:10. So let's follow this lead and see if it truly declares the end from Genesis. Genesis 11:31 and Genesis chapter 15, where the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur the Chaldees. Both record Abraham being brought from Ur the Chaldees. Nehemiah 9:7 also mentions it, thus making Abraham the first identifiable Chaldean. And Abraham begot Isaac. But what did God tell Abraham? Genesis 21:12. In Isaac thy seed shall be called. Isaac begot Jacob. And what did God tell Jacob? Besides Jacob's name being changed to Israel in Genesis 35:10. God tells Jacob while in Luz that a nation, meaning one nation, and a company of nations, meaning more than one, shall be of thee. We can determine that there must be two individuals involved in this blessing, as one will become a nation, the other a company of nations. Jacob begot the much favored Joseph, and unto Joseph were born two sons before the years of famine came. Genesis 48:20. Those two lads were Ephraim and Manasseh, and Manasseh was the firstborn. Genesis 48:14. However, upon his deathbed, Jacob, their grandfather, set Ephraim the younger before Manasseh the elder, saying, Truly his younger shall be greater, his seed shall become a multitude of nations. Genesis 48:19. He also decisively claimed these two lads, saying, They shall be mine. He tells his son Joseph that God appeared to him while at Luz and blessed him. And in Luz, God had told him that a nation and a company of nations shall be of thee. Genesis 35:10. Still Jacob blesses the lads further, saying, Bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and the names of my fathers, Abraham, the first Chaldean, and Isaac, the second. Remember also that Jacob's name was changed to Israel in Genesis 35:10. Thus, the name Jacob and Israel are named on these two lads. So we have two lads, the younger, the greater, Ephraim, the multitude of nations in the midst of the earth. But the prophecy says that a nation and a company of nations shall be of thee. So, which one is the nation and which the company of nations? Well, what's the difference between a multitude of nations and a company of nations? The difference is that a multitude of nations can be one. Case in point, e pluribus unum is the Latin phrase on all of our coin currency. It means one from many, or one nation, from many nations. Remember, bring me your huddled masses, many nations. It's on our Statue of Liberty, I believe. However, a company of nations cannot imply one nation, but more than one, three perhaps. Thus, the younger Ephraim, the greater, the multitude of nations, is the nation described in Genesis 35:10, and Manasseh, the elder, the company of nations. Evidently, these two lads are Chaldean, having identified the Chaldean bloodline to be Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Virtually all sources date the composition of the book of Habakkuk within the reign of the Chaldean Empire, which means the book was evidently written during the actual reign of the Chaldeans, which also explains why he's beseeching God about their grievous conduct, or as enterthebible.org describes it, they remained a threat then. Therefore, in addition to God saying he would raise up the Chaldeans and that at the end this vision shall speak and not lie, he was clearly speaking about a future raising up of them, for they met their demise in 539 BC, not long before or after Habakkuk himself dies. It was only 86 years that they reigned. Before we reveal who the Chaldeans are today by way of what we've just learned, note that there is a specific cautionary note attached to this prophecy. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. That he may run that readeth it means that he will be able to run that readeth it. You will also become sober to the fact that there is no alternative fulfillment for this prophecy in history, as the two lads mentioned thus far, Ephraim and Manasseh, are related. They are brothers, one older, the other younger. The younger greater, yet one nation, as described a multitude of nations. The nation clearly implied right here. And we have Manasseh, the company of nations. So the elder is the company of nations. Step for step, turn for turn, not only have we followed the Chaldean bloodline without controversy, and not only do we know that Jacob's name clearly signifies Ephraim and Manasseh without controversy. Two nations materialize, and without private interpretation.
We know that Great Britain established the first permanent colony in the United States in 1606 by the London Company. Whoever was here before then not only isn't relevant, but didn't establish it.
We also know from a cursory look at history that Great Britain is indeed the elder to the U.S. It is also a company of nations. They are related. Now consider Psalm 78:5, for it adds another aspect to this dynamic prophecy. Thus far, we know that Ephraim the younger, the greater, was established by the elder Great Britain Manasseh. We know that Jacob, aka Israel, is named on these two lads. Psalm 78:5, for he established a testimony in Jacob. We know whose name Jacob signifies. The two lads carry under the name Jacob. Now ask yourself, of these two lads, which one could be said to have established a testimony, to say the least? That would unquestionably be Manasseh, the elder, the company of nations, Great Britain. It was Jamestown, Virginia, established by the London Company in 1606. Notice anything familiar about the name Jamestown? It was named after King James, also known as the testimony that he established in Jacob, more specifically, Manasseh, Great Britain, the company of nations. Great Britain literally translated the KJV into a language and subsequently found the mightiest nation the world has ever known on that language. English, of course. There is no alternative fulfillment to this prophecy. Perhaps now you could see why. related brothers. One a company of nations, the elder, the younger, greater, e pluribus unum, the multitude of nations, yet one. With all of these factors at play, it allows us to summarily rule out any other entity in a time described as the end.